flying high these days in the North Woods. Wasn't always that way, but thanks to preservation efforts by state wildlife managers, a nearly extinct American symbol is thriving.
And tonight, from past to present, we're going to take a look at the recovery of the American bald eagle in the state. Fox 11's Laura Smith reports on Wisconsin's wild side.
The eagle is a fiercely proud bird of prey, but not too long ago its numbers dropped rapidly in the state. The DNR began an extensive program to keep the birds here, and today much has changed. It's not uncommon to see a bald eagle soar through the skies in Wisconsin. The Department of Natural Resources estimates as many as 5,000 live here.
The good news is we're glad that the bird recovered.
The toxic pesticide DDT nearly wiped out our nation's symbol. After the chemical was banned in the early 70s, eagles began making a comeback. In 1985, a Fox 11 special report looked at recovery efforts in northern Wisconsin. Our cameras followed DNR specialists as they climbed up to nests and put leg bands on eagle chicks.
We put Fish and Wildlife Service bands on their legs to determine how long they live, the mortality rates of different segments of the population, and ultimately to give us a population model so we know at what rate the bald eagles are increasing or decreasing, or if their population is remaining the same. I want to see if I can see a view of sideways.
25 years later, DNR eagle biologist Ron Eckstein continues his work with the species.
Successive pairs of eagles have nested here since 1968 in this nest, and we've banded a lot of eagles out of this nest. So it's been around a long time. A typical eagle nest tree, nice big old white pine.
The banding program ended in 1989. Today, Eckstein recalls the intense effort to study the eagle.
During that period, we banded about 3,000 eaglets, nestling eaglets, put these bands on their leg, and then subsequently recovered. So all of these bands were on an eagle that flew around in Wisconsin, died, was recovered, and now there's a collection of bands.
These bands signify the many lessons the DNR learned about population management.
More important than how many young are born, which we thought in the early days was the important factor, we need to have babies coming into the population. For eagles that are very long-lived and have a low rate of birth, more importantly is adult survival.
Originally, the DNR felt DDT would stay in the environment for many years and cause problems with survival.
And possibly cause the eagle to go to extinction because reproduction would be low, and adult survival would be okay, but finally the adults would die and there wouldn't be any young to take over.
But the environment cleaned up much faster than anticipated. Eckstein says within a decade the amount of major contaminants went almost to zero.
One of the real remarkable recoveries has been right in the Green Bay area, which we thought would be 30 years again. We thought the eagles are never going to return to Green Bay and make Michigan too polluted.
I'm really overwhelmed with the amount of eagle activity.
Ty Bauman at the Bay Beach Wildlife Sanctuary witnessed the turnaround in northeast Wisconsin.
That's very encouraging, and I think that's very exciting for people, not only because it's our national symbol, but it's just a very large, majestic bird.
In 1997, the eagle was delisted in the state. In 2007, it was federally delisted. It's a protected species, and today Wisconsin is home to 1,150 nesting pairs.
We need to protect the nests, so to do that we need to know where they are, and we have aerial surveys each year statewide. It's a census to locate all the eagle nests, and then we plot the nests on maps and inform the landowners where the nests are so they don't inadvertently or on purpose, cut the nest down.
DNR wildlife biologists say one of the biggest surprises about the eagle recovery effort is the breeding density in certain parts of the state.
There are 10 pairs of eagles that nest on the rainbow flowage. Again, 30 years ago we had one pair of eagles on this particular flowage. And they're quite close together. There's a pair on this island, and there's a pair on this island. And if they're up in these big white pines, these eagles can look across and see each other. And there's a pair on this point. This is really unheard of.
At times, territorial battles ensue, and some confrontations can be deadly, as was the case for these two females.
And usually they're fighting, and what happens is they're not paying attention, and they're fighting, and they hit the ground and die from an impact.
25 years ago, some wildlife biologists felt discouraged eagles could make a comeback.
Many of the things that eagles need are the same thing that people want. I really believe in the short term it looks very bright. The long term, of course, you can paint a pretty dismal picture, and as there's more and more development on lake shores, there's going to be fewer and fewer eagles.
But so far, urban sprawl appears to have had little impact on the species.
The wildlife are capable of making adaptations and changes. Those that do are most successful and will go on to reproduce numbers.
Eckstein says people have learned to live with eagles and vice versa. But it's questionable what will happen as the bird spreads into even more urban areas.
It'll be interesting to see in the future how in the Fox Valley and the Milwaukee area, in the Madison Lakes area, how the eagles will pioneer into that area and how they'll do where there really are a lot of people living and potential conflicts.
Eckstein is hopeful for success. Eagle success in Wisconsin compared to the rest of the nation looks good. We have the third largest breeding population in the lower 48 states. It's a positive sign the bird will continue to soar through Wisconsin skies for years to come. Laura Smith, Fox 11 News.
And this is just the beginning of a week-long series. Coming up next on Wisconsin's Wild Side, Laura's going to take a look at the wolf, another species once endangered in our state. Tune in to Good Day Wisconsin for a preview and then catch her full report on Fox 11 News at 5 and at 9.